Hey guys, welcome along to the channel, and well,
are you doing it
now? Hey guys, welcome along to the channel, and tonight we're doing a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. So Ed is kindly going to be the GM, and the rest of us numpties are going to be the players. So I'll go round, and if everyone can introduce themselves and their characters, and then Ed can probably do the introductions to the campaign. So we'll start with Topper then.
I'm an experienced D&D player. I've played over 50 games, the last of which was in 1987 at the age of 11. So forgotten everything. Been into Warhammer again now for a year. Been into Warhammer now for a year, and I've got the best character. It's all about the gnomes.
Okay, Ben.
I'm Ben. Play Grimar, Stone Shield. He's a Goliath fighter.
Yes.
So yeah, first try at D&D, so it's going to be interesting.
Cool. Rhys.
Yeah, I'm a hill dwarf called Drake Hugo, Dragon Spirit. I'm very much a rookie at this first game this evening.
Margaret.
I think you need to use his real name to summon him like a devil.
We have to say it 3 times. Dave.
We have to try it again.
To be fair, he's probably eating.
Or drinking.
I'm either hungry or eating. It's true.
There he is.
I'm Dave. I'm playing Kavir, the Tiefling Rogue, from a family of thieves, although of course he himself is not a thief, and he's armed with the mighty blade Qualcast the Mutilator.
Hang on, I wasn't. You never discussed this blade with me. What's this blade?
Dave's gone all in.
I mean, glancing at your character sheet, it appears to be a regular rapier, so that's fine.
It's made from a blade handed down to him by his father.
He started with a blade and made it worse.
And rumour has it that it was in fact the shard of a giant's weapon, which he used to lop down his hedge.
So presumably its twin is out there somewhere. Making a quick note of that for later on in the campaign.
Indeed, yes.
Brilliant. Dave, you played any D&D before?
Like 20 years ago or something like that. About a Rhys ago.
That's pretty much, yeah.
Most worrying thing is, I mean, you say about David's D&D experience, he struggles to spell D&D, so...
Cool. So Dave and Topper are our professionals. Is that what we're saying? Because I've got no experience whatsoever in any role-play game. So
God help you.
Yeah.
Let's just consider my experience of 33 years ago was me and my mate doing whatever we felt like. So probably not experienced. But,
my concern is the number of destruction players that we have.
what's wrong with that?
No, there's only 2, isn't there?
Well, I mean, aside from the fact that, you know, they probably can't read, probably don't know what the numbers on the dice are, I can't imagine what could go wrong.
All I've got to do is kill, haven't I?
Yeah, that's that. Yeah.
You're the bard! You're the bard!
Oh, yeah. All I've got to do is play my instrument.
Yeah, you're going to do that anyway.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, anyway, and my character is another dwarf, mountain dwarf, and I play Snorri Whitebeard, who is a ranger and is Grimar is the adopted brother of Snorri Whitebeard, which we'll probably get into further down the line. But yeah. And that's it.
The last thing I should just identify my character is my Skin Tugger, the bard gnome who's got a few magic tricks up his sleeve. He is a professional sex toy salesman, but he has various issues that Dave's character, I can't remember his name, looks after me. So basically, he's my bouncer. Yeah.
I like to think that you not being able to remember his name is an in-character decision.
Anything I do is in character. Okay.
You are my skin tugger.
Yeah, any good or bad decisions I make are all in character. Okay.
Okay. Introduce myself. So I'm Ed. I'm going to be the Dungeon Master. So I'll be playing all of basically everyone else, the entire world. So no pressure. I've been playing D&D basically constantly since I was about 13, and I will not mention my current age for privacy reasons, but it's a significant portion of my life. We're going to be playing Curse of Strahd, which is a very popular, very well-written campaign by Wizards of the Coast that has been played by hundreds of other YouTube D&D groups. But we have one thing that they don't, which is 6 white guys. So a completely unique experience. I hope you're all ready for that. You tell me, has your party been together for very long, or are you a fairly new band of desperados?
Well, I think myself and Grymar, we met up recently in the hills after many years apart, and we've just kind of been catching up recently. Yeah, I think we stopped to make camp one night, and we were yeah, that's it. I don't know how we've met the others at the minute. We've not really discussed it yet.
Well, let's say that for whatever reasons have drawn you, band of weirdos, together, you have found yourselves traveling through the wilderness, looking for opportunities to make a quick buck. Basically, classic adventurer stead. You are checking bounty boards. You're clearing out bandit camps. You're looking for warrens of goblins who've been stealing from local traders and such things. The kind of sort of bread and meat of an adventurer's lifestyle. And you have not been having a terrible amount of luck. Recently, you have found your way to the town of Daggerford, which is a fairly well-established town, not the grand towering heights of Baldur's Gate or Neverwinter or Waterdeep, but it's not a backwater either. It's somewhere in the middle, and what you have heard on the grapevine is that this place is a great opportunity for young up-and-coming adventurers to make a name for themselves. And upon arriving in Daggerford, you found out that every other bugger has heard the same thing, turned up about a week before you and taken all the jobs. So it's not great. There's a little bit of a cash flow problem in your group at the moment, which is that there's a lot going out and none coming in. And you need to rectify this at the earliest possible convenience. Who is the most charismatic in your group?
I have charisma 11.
Thank you.
It might be me. I've got a charisma of 17.
I've got a charisma of 16.
Mine's 8.
Well,
That's non-existent.
Kavira's charisma is a whopping 19.
Oh, never mind.
Oh, okay.
Kavir. In that case, Kavir, you...
I still don't know where that is.
This is going to be an issue going forward. Okay, so Kavir, you have been making inquiries about town, talking to local bartenders and the sort of underworld types that you in your profession as a ne'er-do-well tend to get attracted to. And you have found that the Duchess of Daggerford, Lady Morwen, is looking for a band of discreet ruffians to take care of some business for her.
I'll bet she is.
You do not know the details of this job. The main thing that she's looking for in this matter is discretion. And so you have been invited, with or without your group, your choice, your risk to take, either way, to inquire about the job at her manor tonight. She is hosting a dinner party, and you have acquired invites for you and your party if you so wish.
I will consider I may need a bit of advice. I mean, what do my party appear to be in the sort of social norms of this place? She's a duchess. Do I think that they should be going to such a thing?
Let's put it like this, Dave. Do you really want to take along a gnome sex toy salesman to a duchess's banquet?
Hey, duchesses have needs too.
Maybe that's why she's contacted you.
Yeah. So I think I need to take on. I think it needs to be myself plus one of the group who looks impressed, like they can, handle themselves but be discreet. So probably not the big diet fella.
Yeah, it's not me. I'm not discreet at all.
Maybe one of the two dwarf.
Yeah, my charisma's not great. You're probably better off with Rhys's character, Drake.
Yes, I have charisma.
said with such confidence.
So I think myself and the warlock.
That evening, the two of you arrive at the Duchesses Manor house, a very stately and opulent building, kind of in like stark contrast to the rest of Daggerford, which is a bit more, working class. There's this one household which towers around all of its neighbors and has very well tended to gardens. There's a topiary in the shape of a beholder. Very, very nice place. You show your invitations to the guards at the door and are let in to the entrance hall where your weapons are checked at the door by guards who don't want you to go anywhere near the Duchess with any weapons, perhaps reasonably. Are you two happy to hand over any sharp implements you might have?
I must regale the guard with the tale of the mighty blade Qualcast. I've got some daggers on me which are probably secreted about my person. They're actually going to search us.
If you want to try and conceal a weapon and take it in with you, then I'll let you do a sleight of hand check to see if you can, tuck it into a pocket or into a
I'm going to forget to hand over one of my two daggers.
Okay, so you explain to the guard the storied history of this impressive magical weapon that was forged by the god titans that made the world, etc., etc. And he takes it with an admirable amount of reverence. He doesn't seem to. He seems to be taking you at face value, basically, which probably brings you some amount of satisfaction. And he accepts the rest of your weapons as well, and places them into a small trunk near the entrance to the door, which is in a closet, which is then locked after you leave. Because you were so forthcoming with the rest of your weapons, and you had so many weapons, I'm going to say that he assumes that you've been kosher and handed them all over. So you do still have one dagger tucked discreetly somewhere about your person that I won't mention for to keep our PG rating, essentially.
Oh,
that's gone, Ed. It's gone ages ago.
If we get like 10 minutes out of it, that'd be great. Rhys, does Drake hand over any weapons he has?
He will conceal a weapon in his sock. A small dagger.
Okay, so you're kind of like limping into the main hall, trying not to stab yourself through the toe.
Yeah, I second guess that in the sock was a bad idea.
This is a dinner party. It's a nice place, but this isn't a Disney movie, and this isn't a massive opulent city. So this dinner party is fairly reserved. It's a sort of occasion that you might see in an episode of Murder, She Wrote. Everyone's kind of on the older end of things. There's a lot of merchants and traders and people who own farms but don't do any farming themselves. That's a cellist in the corner, delicately playing some music to entertain the guests. And you have an opportunity before dinner is served to mingle a little bit And during that period, you are introduced, or rather, the lady herself introduces herself to you. So this is Duchess Morwen. She is a slightly older woman, human. You would guess in her sort of early to mid 40s. Her hair is tied up in a delicate, flowing style above her, so it like sort of comes up and flows gently, cascading around her noble features and gently dancing upon her shoulders. And she eyes both of you with a sort of barely masked disdain as ne'er-do-well scruffians who are here by necessity. You know, she's not overly overjoyed to have you at her fancy dinner party, but she'll tolerate it because she knows that you can be useful. And she says, "Which of you is Kavir?"
Hey, how you doing?
I'll have you removed from the property immediately if I need to. My contact in the city tells me that you are available for some discreet work. And she sort of, as she says this, she sort of gently leads you and Drake to closer to one of the windows of the room, away from any prying ears around in the hall.
Certainly, we are available for hire, and we are always discreet.
Again, it's like she keeps on eyeing you up and down, like she's trying to make a decision about whether or not to trust you with this information. Eventually, it seems that she makes the decision that she is going to risk it, and in hushed tones, she begins to describe her problem. She says, "There is a band of traveling folk called the Vistani. They come through town every now and then. They tend not to cause too much of a fuss, and occasionally are even good for business. However, this last group that has made its way through our town is being a little more troublesome. They have been harassing the townsfolk and other visitors as they come and go, demanding money and wine from people on the road, and threatening to put hexes on whoever doesn't pay up. I don't know if they actually have that power or not, but it's certainly gotten a lot of the local traders up in a furor, and it's bad for business. So I need someone to remove them from town. Whether you do this diplomatically or with force is up to you, as long as they are no longer here in a couple of days. I would prefer not to have an armed conflict if possible. It would be bad for the town's reputation."
That's certainly something that we can do. We've got, as you can see, a mighty warlock who may be able to counter or stymie any sorceries or magic or warlock they may have themselves.
She says, "Oh, you have counterspell. That's a level 3 incantation. Very impressive." She's flipping through her pages of the player's handbook.
There's Rhys in the background, like producing doves from his cloak, and like entertaining the crowd.
There's really cheap kid magicians for like birthday parties.
Pick a card, any card.
We have some mighty warriors, some muscle who can probably intimidate them, and if needs be, and of course we will try and avoid this. If needs be,
I'm prepared to do the intimidation. That's not a problem.
If needs be, we can probably make this problem disappear.
If you are able to do so, you'll be handsomely rewarded. At least the amount of money that I expect to lose this week from there.
I mean, I'm already considered very handsome, so just how handsome are we talking in terms of this reward?
I will offer 100 gold to every member of your party if you can make this problem disappear by dawn tomorrow.
All right, quick question, DM. Is that a lot of money? I have no idea.
That is actually a pretty decent amount of money, yeah.
Okay.
So,
It's like double our gold overnight, isn't it?
It'll double what I've got in my pocket.
Yeah, it's think of it as like food and lodging for 150 nights.
Okay.
Like it's the sort of job where like you only need to take a couple of those jobs a year to make ends meet.
All right, so there's a few things I need to say to her, I think. That seems like a reasonable offer if we have to make that problem go away noisily. But if we manage to make that problem go away quietly, what would that be worth?
Ah. So what Dave is doing here is called role play. It's a very advanced technique that you don't get in every Dungeons and Dragons game, but I like it. I like it a lot. So, so in your character sheet, Dave, I want you to go to your skill selection, and one of them will be persuasion. I think it's called persuasion.
Yeah, I've got that.
Yeah.
Persuasion.
They keep changing them between versions, and I can't always remember which one I memorized. But yeah, if you give me a persuasion roll,
Sure.
so you just need to click persuasion in your character sheet, and it will roll it into a chat for us.
Oh, thank you.
So an 11 isn't super good. You know, it's you're asking money from a rich person. It's like a difficult thing, right? You know, they're all like thrifty and tight. But you do sort of, you know, you have this leverage over her that she needs this discreet thing, and she doesn't really want anyone to know that you were involved. So I'll say that if you can make the problem disappear discreetly by dawn tomorrow, then she'll throw in an extra 20 gold a head.
Was that 20 gold per head? Or 20 gold
20 gold
head?
each.
Oh.
So we'll get 120 gold pieces.
Yeah,
each.
not per head delivered.
That seems like a very fair and reasonable offer, and entirely in keeping with what I've heard of you from your citizens.
She gives you one warning before your conversation ends. She says, I want you to know that you aren't the first people I've sent to try and deal with this problem. Obviously, I command the town's guards, and I ordered them to deliver a message, nothing more, yesterday, to urge them on. And they were unable to convince them to move. But what's more, when they returned from their errand, the guards spoke very sympathetically about the visitors. I suspect that they may have been magically charmed. There's a certain blankness in their expression that indicates this to me.
I see. Thank you. Could we speak to those guards at all?
Again, I would rather no one know that you're involved. So, unless you need to, I would prefer that not to happen.
I understand. That's fine. Do you have any details you could give us about their numbers or habit or anything else that might be useful?
There are, by her estimation, about 10 to 12 of them. A mixture of ages and genders. They have 3 wagons, covered like barrel top wagons, that is both their home and storage, and pulled by draft horses. So by themselves, you know, like there's a mixture of young and old in the group. Probably not all of them are fighting fit. They're a considerable group to disperse by oneself, which is probably why she's looked for some muscle.
And do they have a leader that she's aware of?
She's not aware if they have a leader. Okay, with your negotiations complete, you are able to spend the rest of the early evening enjoying a very pleasant meal. You dine on a hot, spicy parsnip soup and tenderly cooked pheasant, and the conversation seems light and playful between all the people. All the people here are obviously old friends or acquaintances or business partners. But all the way through the evening, you can tell that the Duchess seems out of sorts. You know, this issue is weighing heavily on her mind. And it occurs to you that if you were to be able to solve this problem efficiently and effectively, it might be a very good opportunity for your group. You know, to have a wealthy patron like herself would probably go a long way to solving the cash flow issues that your group is having right now. But it is it's a fancy party. You're not drinking all night or anything. So let's say about sort of 8:30, the meeting wraps up, and you meet back up with the rest of your party in the nearby squalid hovel that you have been renting.
Before we head back, while we're in the party, and as we are leaving, I just want to have a a surreptitious, subtle. I'm not going anywhere. I just want to have a look around in terms of entrances, exits, possible ways back in the future, that kind of thing.
You're casing the joint, basically.
My man.
I did not say that.
He is.
No.
He is.
Yeah,
What I would say,
give me an investigation check. I'll see how well you do. 8. Yeah, you think there might be some doors to this place that, if you opened them, you could get in, which would be hugely helpful in robbing it. But that's about as much as you get. There's the main front door, a servant's entrance at the side. You think that there may be a passageway connected to the gardener's rooms in the back near the gardens, like a mud room, basically, so that the gardener can keep all of his work tools and stuff without mucking up the rest of the house. But you don't notice any particular interesting ways to get in or out of the building. You think you'd have to come at it honest if you were going to try and get in.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, you guys meet up in the inn where you guys are renting, let's say 2 rooms between your party of 5. Going to the cheapest option.
I think Goliath needs a room on his own, doesn't he? Surely.
I'm sure I can spring for it.
no, Snorri and Grymar share.
Yeah, Snorri in the bed and Grymar sort of curled up at the foot of the bed like a big basset hound or something. Yeah, so you guys feel free to talk amongst yourselves, but whenever you're ready, let me know and we can move this party on along to where you have been told these Vistani travelers are set up camp, which is about 10-15 minute walk from town along the old road.
I think the first thing we need to do is we can't be talking for long, because if it's 8:30, that's getting close to Snorri's bedtime. Because he normally has to go to bed at 9, so it can't be too long. I just like to
screw you, my 4.
I just like to voice my frustration at not being invited to the Duchess's house, because I do enjoy fine food, drink, and I do mingle with high society among my temple's elite back at home. So I am accustomed to dealing with these type of individuals. So I'm a little bit frustrated because this style of living in these squalid conditions do not suit me at all.
We don't want you trying to sell them a dildo every 5 minutes. We're trying to get information.
You're a travelling sex toy salesman. You are not meeting a duchess, dude. This is not.
Well,
we're keeping you locked up.
I'm not changing my mind. I'm annoyed with you all.
Okay.
I'm sure you won't be annoyed when we find out how much we're getting paid for this.
So we'll relay the tale. I mean, I'm thinking that what we should do before we've got some time. If it's 15 minutes travel, we should travel out there, case the joint a bit, come back, and then make the plan.
Sounds sensible. I'm up for that.
I think that's a good idea. And earlier I saw a blackbird fly east towards the forest, and that's a good omen.
What the fuck? You've been looking at those pig's entrails as well. Did that give you any clue?
Hey, look, my personality traits, I see omens in every event and action. There's omens everywhere. You're going to get omens a lot.
Oh, I'm going to have so much fun with you. That's going to be so great. Incidentally,
keep our eyes open.
I forgot to mention this earlier, Dave. For taking the opportunity to haggle with the Duchess, I'm going to give you inspiration, which is a special thing that I can hand out to players who I think are doing good role play. Basically, to reward you not solving every problem with a fist or a fireball. So the top of your character sheet on the top left,
that's unfair.
there's a little box
soft touch,
that says inspiration. You can click that to fill it in. It's a little checkbox. And anytime you want to re-roll a d20 for things like an ability check, then you can spend your inspiration point to re-roll that dice. You can only have one inspiration point at a time. So don't do anything else impressive until you've spent that one.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
See, I told you that blackbird flying east towards the forest was a good sign. You've got to listen to me more often.
I mean, one of the possibilities, if we are thinking let's go and case the place, is to just simply walk up there and try and sell them some sex toys.
Yeah,
I think that's a wonderful idea. If I can make a bit of money here. Look, I think it's a good idea, because that earthworm's definitely looking at me. And that is a sign from God.
You are indoors though, so you did bring the earthworm with you. It's got no choice.
That's a little pop.
I thought we were in squalor and we've got a dirt floor.
It's not that quite. It's not quite that squalor. It's a straw floor. You know, you're upmarket.
Listen, I'm used to living in temples with the elite. Anything is squalor to me.
Are you though?
Let's move on anyway. This isn't all about me. What's the matter with you all?
All right, so is that what we're going to do then? We're going to go out to the camp and case the joint, and then see if we can sell them some toys.
Yeah. Is that your
We
plan?
need to think about how. Yeah, I think we need to think about how we're going to do it, because like we don't want it to turn into the confrontation too quickly. Maybe we just want to find out a bit.
Well,
yeah. I think the best thing is if me and Kavir go, and then you lot just stay behind, because Kavir and I do this all the time. This is bread and butter to us, walking up to a group of strangers, trying to sell them a big dingle dangle dongle.
Yeah, so why don't you do that then? Why don't you go and, like, under the pretense of selling them stuff, go and actually have a look?
Yeah.
Well, it's the rest of us. Case the place.
Yeah, I'd quite like if we think that these people have previously enchanted. I think we want you nearby, like trying to observe or something, just in case they try something with us.
Well, we could check out the lay of the land nearby, check if there's any kind of, I don't know, if this turns into a rumble, we could find some like defensive positions, try and scout around the camp, maybe but not get too near, but kind of have a look around, see if we can like find somewhere so that if you need help, we can dart in, dart back, and find a defensive position.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a lover, not a fighter, and I'm going to need the help.
Okay, so who is approaching the camp, and who is reconnaissancing?
I think Dave and Topper. So my four
and Kavir
are approaching the camp. The rest of us are kind of scouting around. Probably is a group of three. I imagine, rather than splitting up.
I think
I find like a large tree to hide behind.
I think I should recon, and somebody else should go with my four, because I'm not impressive physically, whereas like if he goes with one of the big,
you know what? Let's send. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's send Grimar, because he's the big dude, and if anyone can intimidate them, Grimar can.
So can I.
What's your intimidation?
My intimidation is 1.
Jesus. Like I said, he's like a big asset hound. He's lovely.
Yeah. I mean, my issue is like I won't stand and talk. I just like hit.
Look menacing.
Well, no, like it'll sort of get halfway through the conversation, and I'll sort of go, "Yeah, I'm bored of this now," and just look for the nearest person to throw a punch at or swing a sword at. So
basically, we're saying it's between me and Rhys then.
Yeah. My intimidation's 5. I could be like a 4'7" intimidating, just hack at their ankles.
I've got no intimidation, so yeah. I think it's up to you then, Rhys.
I don't mind being there.
Can I just check something?
What's that?
Our heavies, our muscle, have got a combined intimidation of 1, which is a total of 2 less than your 3', 70-pound bard 9.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. I don't know whether it's
I've already made my mind up. I'm going to sell it. I'm going now. If you don't want to come with me, come with me. I'm getting bored.
Yeah. Just go, Rhys.
I'll come with.
Rhys go in topper. The rest of us will scout around the neighbouring countryside and just see if we can get anything from that.
Make sure my four doesn't get punched in the face with selling too much wrong things.
Not me. Charisma's my game. Right here, you can carry this bag of dildos.
Cheers.
All right, so those of you who are stealthily scouting out around the outsides of the camp. Oh no, we need him for this. All right, so we'll start with my four and Drake. So you guys separate from the rest of the party a couple minutes out from the Vistani camp, and as you see it, the first thing you see is light through trees. They're not camped in the middle of the road or anything like that. They've made their camp in a little clearing off to the side in a sort of natural wildlife. And you hear the sound of some musical stringed instrument that you don't recognize. Something close to a banjo. Being played this sort of jaunty, like folk music tune. Very lovely. And you hear some laughing and carousing, some singing in a language you don't recognize. And as you get closer, you see this group of colorfully dressed individuals sitting around a roaring campfire, drinking wine out of wood carved cups, and chatting and just having a lovely time, basically. Many of them seem very deep in their cups, in fact, enough that only two of them appear to notice you as you stand very conspicuously in the middle of the clearing, which probably bodes well for the reconnaissance party, you think. One of the people who notices you, he seems to be like the designated driver, you know what I mean? Like he seems to have his wits about him the most. He's an old man with a bald head and a wispy white sort of chin beard. And he has a glass of wine, but he doesn't seem nearly as deep in it as the rest of his entourage. And as you approach, he sort of creakily gets up from his like wood log stump seat that he was sitting on, holding his back like Yoda in Empire Strikes Back, sort of, oh, no, I couldn't harm a fly type of atmosphere, and walks over to you and says, "Hello there, friends. Welcome. Who might you be this late in the night? Come, sit around the campfire. Join us in our wine, why don't you?"
I take the initiative, and I pat Rhys. I pat what's his name? I pat Drake on the back and say, "Leave this to me." And I say, "Good evening. My name is Myfor. Nice to see you on this pleasant evening. I was brought over by the intoxicating music I could hear. I'm a bard myself, you know. Do you mind if I join in with my pan flute?" And I whip my pan flute out, and I'm able to start playing along to the music.
Yeah, his eyes brighten, they sparkle. He's overjoyed. Like, "Oh yes, excellent! Come!" And he sort of puts an arm around your shoulder and basically sort of manhandles you to a seat around the campfire. The others have taken notice of you now, obviously, that you're playing along with the music. And the banjo player is a human woman. She is, you would guess, sort of like early 30s. With sort of long wavy brown hair and this like bright, colourful blue bodice. And she's playing along on this. And when she notices that you're joining in, she sort of ups the pace and like starts to get a little bit more jaunty and like happy and dancey with it. Why don't you give me a performance check? See how well you are able to like keep up. with this sort of dueling banjos situation. Okay, so you suck, really bad. Yeah, you're missing all the keys. You're really not following this. It's like,
Can I at this point say, listen, the pan flute isn't really my speciality. Let me grab my bagpipes.
yeah. When you say, do you actually have bagpipes? Are you pulling out bagpipes at this point?
I have bagpipes, a horn, and pan flute.
All right. So yeah, as you act, so there's a ripple of laughter as you say that you're going to bring out some bagpipes, and then when you actually produce bagpipes, there is guffaws around the campfire. They love it, like crazy. Like some random gnome has wandered into their camp, started drinking their wine, and is going to try and play bagpipes after failing to play along with a flute. They just, there's no animosity, or you don't feel any tension in this gathering at the moment. Like you're not, they're just treating you like they would any random drunk who wandered into their camp on a good night out. You know what I mean? Drake, what are you doing in this situation?
I currently, watching my four, enjoy the festives and enjoy the music. I kind of stand back and kind of watch everybody do their thing, kind of look for mysterious behaviour whilst within and watch everybody else do their thing.
Okay, why don't you give me a perception check to see if you pick up on anything unusual while my four is distracting the crowd.
It's a perception.
Perception.
Is that the tune you're playing, Top?
Ah, look at Drake.
Nice.
So
Yes.
So yeah, you're doing the sort of brooding guy who stands in the corner of a party, thinking, "I wish I was at home playing World of Warcraft," you know. But you survey the area while my four gets them good and loose. So you count 10 in total, but you think that there might be another younger member of the party sleeping in the back of one of the wagons, no more than like a 10-year-old child. The host of this party, the older man, you pick up that his name is Stanimar, and your familiarity with the arcane arts reveals to you that the book that he had folded across his lap while he was sitting around the campfire, and he is now basically sitting on top of his log. You think that is a spell book, so you think that he may be a wizard.
So he is practicing magic. So I come to somewhat of a conclusion that he may have put some form of spell on the mistress's guards at some point.
Yeah. So if there's a member of the party to be wary of, you think despite his appearances, it may be him.
Yeah.
Have we got Dave back now?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right, cool. So the members of the party who are sneaking, what I want you to do is give me a group stealth check. So the way this works is because there's multiple of you trying to sneak, and you're sort of working together as a team for this. I'm not going to have you each roll, and because the problem with stealth checks is that, you know, if one of you rolls badly, it ruins it for the whole group. Whereas what should be happening is like the best among you is sort of guiding the worst among you and sort of mitigating. I'm looking at Ben's face and I can see that he's probably not got the highest stealth ability. So who has the highest stealth modifier? Who's the best at stealth in your little group of three?
I've got stealth 2. I've got a big fat 0.
I've got stealth 7.
Bloody hell.
Right, so
Just to be clear, I'm definitely not a thief.
I am specifically a rogue. It says rogue in the player's handbook. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is Dave is going to roll the stealth check, and you guys are going to assist him in doing that. So he's going to be able to roll with advantage.
Okay.
And then his result is the result for your whole group. And when I say rolling with advantage, if you don't know, advantage and disadvantage are concepts in Dungeons and Dragons when you know, the odds are in your favor or against you when you're attempting a certain action. If you have advantage, you roll 2 dice and take the highest of the 2 results as your result. If you have disadvantage, you roll 2 dice and you take the lowest of the 2 results. So, Dave, give me a stealth check with advantage.
And Ed, do you decide whether we have advantage or disadvantage?
Yeah, I'll tell you if you have advantage or disadvantage.
Cool.
Or
Perfect.
when we're a little bit more practiced, you'll realise that you can sometimes convince me that you have advantage. And then every single roll you have will be preceded by a 5-minute conversation about why no, you don't have fucking advantage, Chris. That's how D&D always goes.
So I need to click this twice.
I think you should just have to click it once because you're still set with automatic advantage. Fuck me.
Wow.
You're a ghost's fart. You are completely undetectable. Your party disappears into the mists around the camp and just you were never born. You go back in time and halt the existence of your group. You get a perfect creeping crawl around the camp between the loud music, them being distracted, them being drunk, and your just like godlike perception of every nook and cranny in this forest. You know, you get like echolocation of every good hiding spot around you. Your group is able to do a quick 360 degrees like perimeter of the camp and get a good idea of everyone in there. It seems like the information that you had from the Duchess is correct. So they have 6 draft horses who are currently tied up a little bit away from the camp. 5 of them sleeping, 1 of them sort of nibbling on a little tuft of grass. They have 3 wagons, which are sort of assembled around the campfire. But the way that they've assembled them affords you some like excellent opportunities to like advance towards the camp undetected, if you so wished. So they've created blind spots in the way that they've arranged their wagons around the camp. You size up the members of this party, who, like I said before, they're all sort of colourfully dressed in like light billowing, loose-fitting clothes. You don't spot an abundance of weapons. Like anyone traveling on the road would be wise to take weapons, but they don't seem any more armed than any other group that you would expect to encounter. You know, there's a couple of short swords and a dagger that you can see sort of like in plain sight, but unless one of their wagons is just stuffed with battle axes or something, you're thinking maybe they're not as intimidating as you were led to believe.
Do they have ready access to water where they are?
There's a bucket of water, like fresh water that they use to like dip their cups in for drinking and stuff. But no, there's not like a pool or anything. They have very limited access to water. You guys tell me what do you do? So currently, the group is enjoying drinking and laughing with my 4. You're currently in a sort of like one-sided ballad of like Battle of the Bands, where one side is playing beautiful folk medleys on this sort of stringed banjo-like instrument, and my 4 is just blasting away on bagpipes, probably keeping everyone in Daggerford awake.
How much sort of time has passed?
Not long, like 5-10 minutes.
One of the things that I would like to do is, I'm a little concerned that Drake is spoiling the atmosphere because he hasn't got a musical instrument. So I pass him my horn so we can have a little tinker with it. But I would like to use my bardic inspiration, please, Mr. GM. I don't exactly know how to do it. I've just read about it.
Yeah. So bardic inspiration is something that bards can do, where they inspire their friends, like half with mundane techniques, and half with a sort of magical charm that bolsters their spirits and allows them to sort of fake it till they make it. You know what I mean? Like it increases their odds of having favorable outcomes when they attempt things. So what is your dice at your level? Is it D6?
D6, yeah.
Yeah. So Drake, you now have inspiration. So anytime you make an attack roll or an ability check, you can choose to use this inspiration dice that you have to add a d6 to your roll, and you can choose to do that before I've told you whether or not it has succeeded. So you make a roll, look at the result, and then tell me whether or not you want to add a d6 to it to just sort of try and nudge it over the edge. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, so if it's like good roll, I don't have to add it then.
So Myfor has handed you a horn and invited you to join.
I take the horn in gratitude, and I attempt to blow this probably single-tuned horn.
All right, give me a performance roll to see whether you impress the crowd. Now, do you want to add a d6 to that, or are you confident that that will succeed?
That is pretty low. I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty bad at it anyway, so I'll give it the roll.
Right, so
Out of 6.
a rocking 6 performance with your horn that you've never used before. I imagine it sounds very much like if I tried to play a brass instrument for the first time, which is like that sort of like sort of unconfident squeal of someone who doesn't even know how to hold the lips on the mouthpiece. You know what I mean? And as soon as you do that, the entire campfire erupts into laughter, and they start trading. The Vistani start trading jokes to each other in this language that you don't recognize. It seems to be their sort of native tongue that they're talking to each other. But the atmosphere couldn't be higher. Like they loved that more than if you'd done really well.
At this point, I say to Drake in Dwarfish, because I can speak Dwarfish, to hope that nobody can understand us. Just say, this is going really well. Just keep going. We're getting them on side here. This is going really well.
Yeah, Ed, what language do these people speak?
It's an excellent question.
It's on your. It's on my character sheet.
Yeah, I know. I speak 5 languages, so I'm just wondering if I can speak what they speak.
Oh, okay. So you've seen. I've got Common, Dwarfish, Giant, and Gnomish.
I've got Common, Dwarfish, Infernal, Orc, and Undercommon.
I've got Elven, Dwarven, and Common.
Common, Dwarvish, and...
So anyone who wants to try and determine what tongue they're speaking can roll me a history check.
I'll have a crack at that.
But looking through your character sheets now, I can tell you that none of you speak it, but you might be able to identify it.
Okay.
My history's 1.
So is mine.
May as well still roll.
Yeah, I'll why not? I've not rolled the dice yet.
Remember, if you click your skill in the character sheet, it'll add your your things for you and tell you what the roll was for the future.
Well, I got a 19 with my history.
17.
Okay, so both of those are enough. They are literally speaking Vistana, which is the language of the Vistani. Vistani are both of you were aware of the Vistani before. They're not a very populous people. You don't tend to run into them very often, and they're very nomadic. So they don't stay in any one place for very long, which is probably why neither of you speak this language. You've never really had an opportunity to learn very insular, tight-knit communities, these Vistani people. But you recognize enough of it to know that is what they're speaking.
So, how long have we been here now?
Like 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, I'm having such a great time. I'm just staying here and playing music and drinking. So I'm doing nothing else.
while Tosser's got us distracted, can we like have a look around, see if we can like find some information out of their, I don't know, their belongings or something, and
little look around the wagons and stuff whilst we're having a little sneak round.
So you want to like any opportunity you have to like look through their like peek into their wagon and maybe
we'll try and find out what they're doing here, basically.
Members of a sneaking party. If you want to, you can give me a investigation roll to see what you can turn up discreetly.
I think I've got a tick next to my investigation. That means I've got an advantage, doesn't it? Yeah.
That means you're trained in it. So if you're trained in a skill, you add your proficiency bonus, and your proficiency bonus goes up as you level up.
Right. So I think I got 17 then. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you find you approach one of their wagons, which does not seem to be occupied, and is positioned in such a way that someone could root through the back of it without drawing attention to themselves. Inside, you find a couple of small kegs of wine and one bottle of wine. The kegs are both...
I steal the wine.
All of it?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Just straight up steal it.
Yeah, good, fair. So add to your inventory 2 like kegs. So you got basically one under each arm, essentially. 2 kegs of purple grape mash number 3.
Ooh, okay.
Which, judging from the smell, is almost vinegar. A very poor quality vintage. And 1 bottle of Red Dragon Crush.
Red Dragon Crush. Okay.
Yeah, which you can't determine the quality without uncorking it, but it definitely seems a little bit higher end based on its presentation.
Awesome.
You also find a small sort of package, like small rectangular package about the size of like a fist, that is wrapped in a decorative silk cloth, a purple cloth with these intricate sort of spiderweb yellow design on it.
Okay, I'll unwrap it and have a look.
Inside, you find a deck of cards similar to tarot cards, but tarot doesn't exist in this world. So they're not like playing cards. They're not numbered. They have strange names on them, like the Count and the Dark One, and these pretty cool illustrations of sort of gothic characters and places and creatures on them. You think, like, as a sort of artistic, bless you, item, they're probably worth a little bit, like maybe like a couple gold to people who are interested in it. You have no idea, like, what this is used for, other than it's giving you huge sort of fortune tellery vibes in the ways that a tarot would. You don't know if it's actually being used for that purpose.
Right.
But certainly this is a pretty nice set of decorative cards.
Could I take 1 card out of the pack and then take it back to town to see if we can find out more about the pack? Leave the rest there so they think that maybe they just lost 1 card and they don't, like... You see what I'm saying? Like, I see. Yeah. So we can, like, investigate the card pack from 1 card, and then, like, they don't suspect anything if they just find this whole pack gone missing.
On the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, I think you should now see, not your character sheet, you should now see a deck of cards.
Oh, that's cool.
You might need to move my...
okay.
I would like you to draw 1 card from that. You can sort of click and drag from the top, or just draw 1.
Yeah, there you go. Wizard!
Okay, I'll make that bigger so everyone can see it. So yeah, you draw out the wizard card.
Wow, okay. So if I put that in my pack, and then I'm going to take that back and we can investigate if needs be. What does everyone think?
Well, we're not with you, so we don't know what you're doing.
We're still having fun.
I'm playing
Right.
bagpipes. Getting drunk.
I'm gonna slip that into my haversack and put the rest of the cards back so they don't suspect anything.
And once he puts them back, I'd wait till his back's turned and pick them up.
Take the whole thing.
Because I'm like, I don't know what they are, but I don't trust them in their hands. So I'm like, I'm going to take them away from the people who I assume are bad people.
So do I put one card on my inventory and then he puts them 51?
Yeah.
Okay.
Taking the whole pack.
I think I'm gonna give it to you, and that'll just be down there whenever you want to look at it.
Okay.
Who knows? Maybe it'll be important. Maybe you have set the wheels of fate in motion by taking this card.
I'll kill this all.
Face it. If he hasn't, then there's every chance to grind.
Your bagpipe playing well.
Hey, I'm rocking it with my bagpipes. They're as happy as Larry. You're getting away with all this because I'm playing such a great tune.
So, my four, as you're playing this tune, you come to the end of a song. There's a natural little reprise at the end where you and this female Vistani, who you found out her name is Damia. You take a breather before you start your next song, and Stanimar, the older man, sort of nudges up on his stump and says, my friend, why don't you tell your other friends hidden in the bushes around here to join us? There's plenty of wine to go around.
I love the fact we've got Count Von Count in the camp. I love to count.
Oh, you better get used to that accent, because I'm going to be busting out a lot in this campaign.
So I reply by saying, you know how it goes. Strangers in the wood. We had to have a little look around. I'll invite them in. Come on in, boys.
I come round the corner holding these bottles of grape mash and Red Dragon.
We bought wine for you.
I brought my own beer.
We bought wine.
Stanimar laughs and says, Barovian vintage, rare in your country. Join us. Pour yourselves glasses.
I'm gonna try and stealth away because I'm so confident that I think like he may have seen them. There's no way he's seen me.
You're wrong, me, natural 20.
Yeah, give me another stealth with advantage, because you're apparently the shadow himself.
Yeah, double one. Oh my god, he's done it again.
Will do. You disappear into the forest. Retreat a little bit to gain some space and figure out another angle maybe, or to tactically retreat. There doesn't seem to be any indication that Stanimar knows that you were ever there. But you do notice that Stanimar looks sort of pointedly in the direction emerges from the woods. Like he expected Grimar. He never seems to look in your direction. But yeah, so Grimar and Snorri, you join the group. One of the Vistani, who's a little younger, maybe only like 17 or 18 years old. This little kid, he looks you up and down and says, Jesus, you're a big one. Yes, he says Jesus. I'm confirming now that Jesus does exist in the world of Dungeons & Dragons.
Okay, so they believe in Jesus.
No,
okay.
He doesn't say that.
Right. So he remarks on my size.
Yeah, you get the impression he's never seen a Goliath before.
I just sort of smile and nod at him. Like it's something I've sort of dealt with for sort of many years now. So my usual reaction now is just to sort of, when someone comments on my size, I just sort of smile and nod and ignore it, because it's normally followed up by a harsh remark.
Well, luckily this time.
At which point my four turns to the little boy and says, "Yeah, he's big, but he's not too clever," and everyone starts laughing.
So this boy hands you a glass of not a glass, a sort of carved wooden cup filled with wine, and the whole group like swings to the melody that Damina starts playing afterwards. But before you have a chance to join in with her again, my four, Stanimar leans in again, sort of gently puts a hand on yours to stop you from playing, and says, "My friend, I hope that you do not think that I am being rude, but I must know why you are here."
At which point I say, we were out for a walk. I'm a salesman. I was trying to sell some goods. We came across the music, and music is my life. And I came over to join in. My friends were cautious of coming to join us, yet here they now are. So we want to just enjoy the music, and we want to laugh.
Okay, roll me a deception to see if he buys your story.
Boom.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, he says, he seems to take that at face value and says, that is a relief. We have had some trouble with the local constabulary. I was worried that maybe you had come here to drive us off. Not that it matters, we will be going tonight anyway.
You're leaving?
Ah, yes. We were only staying here as long as some of our party we were waiting for members of our party to join up with us. And now that they are here, we will stay the night, and in the morning, with the early morning's light, we will be gone on the northern road.
Well, let us enjoy this evening of wine and music.
Yes, it is always good to make friends and then leave them, before they realize how much you have stolen from them. And he says, we go home. We're very excited. We have not been home in a very long time, but the time has come for us to return and meet up with our families again. We come from a land called Borovia. You can roll a history check to see if you recognize it. Anyone who can hear this conversation is welcome to do that.
So I've got a history of... Okay, we're just going to do that, are we?
I'll take it I can't hear.
Probably not. If you've sort of retreated to ensure that you are like safely secured away, then yeah, probably not. Not over the music.
I've got I've got a bonus on intelligence history checks, but it's only on magical items and alchemical objects or technological devices. Sorry, I was just checking.
So with a high of 13, none of you recognize the name Borovia. Not something you're familiar with.
Okay.
And he sees this sort of vacancy on your expressions, and he says, "There are very few in your world who have heard of it. Would you like me to tell you a story of my homeland?"
Very much so.
Stanimir fills his mouth with wine and then spits it into the fire. The campfire turns from dancing orange to green, and as the flames dance and sway in dark shapes begin to appear in the bonfire's core as he regales you with this story.
Ed, I'm going to get my crossbow ready to plug the son of a bitch.
Okay.
Just in case, because I don't know what he's doing, do I?
No, you don't. You let me know. So you can see this from afar. You can't hear what he's saying, but you let me know when you fire the crossbow at him.
Okay.
So he begins his story as these shapes appear, sort of shrouded and shadowy in the core of the bonfire. He says, "Borovia is an ancient land whose name is long forgotten, but it is a land of kings. Our enemies forced us from our homes, and we had to wander the long, lost roads." The dark shape in the fire takes the form of a man being knocked from his horse, a spear piercing his side. Stanimar continues, "One night, a wounded soldier staggered into our camp and collapsed. We nursed his terrible injury and quenched his thirst with wine. He survived. When we asked him who he was, he would not say. All he wanted was to return home, but we were deep in the land of our enemies. We took him as one of our own and followed him back towards his homeland. His enemies hunted him endlessly. They said he was a prince, but we did not give him up, even when their assassins fell on us like wolves. The Vistani are proud people, you should know this." Deep in the bonfire, you see the dark figure standing with sword drawn, fighting off a host of shadowy shapes, and he continues, "This man of royal blood fought to protect us as we protected him. He spilled his blood for us. We bore him safely to his home, and he thanked us. He said, I owe you my life. Stay as long as you wish. Leave when you choose, and know that you will always be safe here. And thus the land of Borovia became our home. And it has always remained our home, even as we travel from here to there in all different corners of the Forgotten Realms. Stanimar's face becomes a somber mask at the end of his story, and he says, Alas, that was a long time ago, and since then, a powerful curse has befallen our noble prince.
How long ago were we talking?
He laughs at you and says, I do not remember it.
I question him about the curse that's been bestowed upon his prince.
I do not understand it, but this once gracious and noble man has had his heart consumed by darkness. He rules like a tyrant now, although he still honors his pacts with us. It is a terribly sad story. An ill-fitting end for such a noble figure.
What brought you to this area of the realm, shall we say?
We Vistani love to travel. We go from here to there all the time. We often go on excursions searching for heroes. Your land has many of them. Great warriors who have faced dragons and beholders and other terrifying things. We look for those who might be able to help us with this ignoble curse. Alas, we have found no one even barely fitting the description. We return now, as we do every so many years, to reconnect with our families, exchange information, and then set out again in search of people who can deliver us from our despair. Our leader, Madame Eva, my mother, she awaits for us home and will guide us, tell us where to go, where to look for the next 5 years, and the cycle will begin again.
At this point, I reach for a bottle, and I fill his glass. I fill my glass, and I raise my glass to toast him, to wish him all the best in the future endeavours back at home in Bavaria.
Borovia.
I wrote it down wrong.
Oh, we're supposed to be making notes. I've not made any notes.
No, you're supposed to forget everything immediately after I say it.
Oh, damn
That's
it.
the traditional Dungeons & Dragons experience.
I've learned from the Big Bang Theory, they write everything down. I'm doing the same. So I suppose...
Should we not ask why the Duchess is taking a disliking to the Vistani?
No. Because I think if we do that, we're going to raise suspicions in them. At the moment, they're leaving, which makes everybody happy. I think the question we have to ask ourselves is, do we want to understand more about what's happening back home? And do we want to go and see if we can help? Or do we just let them leave in the morning, go back, get our 120 gold pieces, and that'll be good for about 160 nights' food and lodgings.
So you're thinking double job out of this. So we got the payment for the other one already because they're buggering off in the morning. Do we want to offer our services to these dudes, even though they think we're not really heroes?
They might laugh at us at this point because we've got a gnome who's been playing the bagpipes all evening. We've got 2 people who are stealthing around the outside of the campsite and got caught, and we've got another dwarf who can't play a horn.
Well, all right, then let's do that. Then let's offer our services and say, well, we'll deal with these dudes that are dealing with you, whatever, with your mother.
Yeah. Is that what you're gonna do?
So I speak to him, Stamivar. I put my hand on his shoulder. I look him in the eye and say, "Let us help. Okay. We are experienced travellers, and we are a group who can come and help you to right the wrongs in your homeland."
So any amusement that you expected from him doesn't materialize on him or anyone else. You notice now that the music has stopped, and you can't remember when it stopped, but the attention of the Vistani seems centered on this conversation, and there's sort of bated breath all around. Stanimar's face remains this sort of somber mask, and he says, "Our homes have many troubles. You may find them more than you are able to cope with. Many before you have come and tried, and none of them were able to succeed. If you offer your help, I would accept. I am not so proud that I would turn away assistance freely offered from kind strangers in the night.
Whoa,
However, I warn you,
whoa.
it is dangerous.
We haven't said anything at the moment about freely offered, Stamivar. I have to make
this turns his lip into a smile.
I have a family to feed. I have children. I have small gnomes in my garden who I need to look after. I need to buy new musical instruments. We have to eat. We have to drink. We have to live.
He says, I am not wealthy enough to offer you anything for this service, but Madame Ava, perhaps, our leader, she may be able to offer you a handsome sum if you are to come with us. We return to her tomorrow. You are welcome to join our caravan if you wish.
I look at the others and I disregard the looks on their faces and say, Stamivar, we will travel with you in the morning.
We're going to get stabbed in the back in our sleeps.
Okay, Dave, is this the point that you loose the crossbow bolt into the back of his skull? Killing him instantly?
Well, I can't hear him, can I?
No, but he doesn't seem to be doing anything aggressive.
Well, I mean, if he's not doing anything aggressive, then I'll just keep my eye on him and the rest of the group. It was more the display of magic which troubled me.
Yeah, I should say the dancing fire has returned to a gentle yellow-orange at this point. It's crackling away happily on the last few logs.
Can I don't know, I don't trust him. Can I try and see whether he's lying or not? Whether he seems good intentioned and whether, yeah. What do I need to
that
do?
would be an insight check to see if you can determine secret motives.
We're all going to die.
16.
So you think that the story he's told you is true. As far as you can tell, he has not invented any of the components of it, but you do notice some worrying omissions. He's never told you some key details, and that concerns you. But you don't think he's trying to mislead you, more that he doesn't want to talk about certain things.
All right. I'm going to say, see you, Jimmy. You get on my tits. What have you missed out of this conversation that we need to know?
He says, what would he say? He says, there are things I do not bear to speak about. You will never receive the name of our Lord from my lips. We consider it a cursed name now. And other such details of his story, I conceal as well. I say it openly. Again, it is taboo for us to speak it openly to outsiders. I'm afraid I cannot offer you any of the answers you seek.
What do you think?
I've already packed my bag. I found somebody I can play music with, and I can drink with, and one of my key attributes is I'm inflexible in my thinking. So, guys, I'm going. You can come with me and help or not. I'm travelling with these guys.
See, my flaw is I assume the Western people. I don't trust him.
Can I try something?
I do like to kill monsters to make the world a safer place, so you know.
The only thing I'd say at this point is that he hasn't actually done anything to make us not trust him.
He's
given us drink. Sorry, Rhys, go on.
He has a spell book which I would like to talk to him more about, if that is possible, and say that I am a fellow person of the magic, and would like to know more about his book. If that is possible.
Rhys gets his top hat off. Pulls a rabbit out of it.
I'll show you. I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
Yeah, and that if he needs any help, that I'll give him some kind of reinforcement that I am friend, not foe.
Yeah. If you draw attention to his spellbook, he will hold it in his hands in such a way that you can see it, but he won't offer it to you. It's like not exactly a taboo, but it's a pretty, a spellbook is a very private and valuable thing, and people aren't in the habit of like handing it around to people they've just met. But he doesn't attempt to hide it from you, and he says, It is true. I practice some magic. I am not terribly skilled, although I get by. Enough to keep dangerous people off of our backs when we are traveling.
Can I question him of what kind of things he has learned? And maybe that I can teach him new things and he could teach me some things.
So, in character, yes. Out of character, you should know that as a warlock, you do not receive your magical abilities through study like a wizard does. You have made a deal with an entity that provides you a portion of their power. So the spells that you have are not something that you could teach to others, and you can't learn spells from others. But as you continue to adventure, your ability to manipulate these energies will grow stronger.
Okay, so
if you want to say that to sort of like strike up conversation with him, you're more than welcome to do that. But just to let you know that's you wouldn't actually be able to follow through on that promise.
Okay, so I don't follow through with that. I'll follow through with it on the handout that I know that I can't learn it, but just to get very close with him.
Okay. So give me a persuasion check to see if you manage to butter his bread. Yeah. So yeah, he's happy to speak with you as a fellow practitioner of the sort of things that he's mastered. He says that he's more than capable of simple magical tricks, flavoring food, dyeing clothes, mending items, the sorts of things that are very useful on the road. In times of, danger or stress, he can employ certain other abilities. He can grant invisibility to his companions. He can protect himself with magical barriers. He, with a sort of hush on his voice, he reveals, when it is needed, I can also charm the minds of others to make them more friendly and amicable to us. It helps us out of no manner of certain situations. We had an incident not long ago, in fact, with the guards of this town. They came to force us out, and we needed to stay here until we made our rendezvous with the other members of our group. So we hushed them away with a more pleasurable memory of their experience than they perhaps had.
Oh, okay. I try and hide the way he revealed his information because of the task that I know, which he doesn't. I keep it secret from him, and then I tell one of the other guys, well, the closest person by me, of what he has just told me.
Okay. Yeah, so you share that information with your companions, let them know that that's his version of the story that you've been told by Lady Morwen.
And some things are clicking together. Now he has the ability to do so, and that lady has had her guards charmed, let's say. So things are starting to click. Yeah.
So at the end of this conversation, you guys have been here a significant amount of time now. The hour is growing late, and they've already expressed that they basically are going to be up at the crack of dawn and moving north, which is it's different from your group's usual up at the crack of noon and staying in bed until such a time as you need to get up in order to make money. As the energy around the fire dies out and the Vistani begin packing up their belongings, Stanimar rises again, sort of weakly and crickedly to his feet, and says, well, if you do wish to come with us, you are more than welcome. We'll be moving on at the break of daylight, and there is room in our caravan for more. We have spare supplies. However, if you choose not to make good of this opportunity, I will think no less of you. It is a dangerous thing, and I would not ask anyone to risk their lives for only my own sake. All the same, I'm sorry, but I'm an old man and I must retire. It has been a pleasure to meet you, gentlemen. And with that, he hobbles away into the back of one of the caravans with his daughter and his son.
So So
and he leaves you to decide amongst yourselves, gives you the night to think about it, basically, what you want to do.
well, should we
So I
go back
suppose
to
at this
the
point we leave.
should we go back to the tavern and we'll have a discussion out of earshot?
Yeah, we need to go and find the. We need to go and find Kavir because he ran off scared, didn't he?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
So we say our goodbyes.
After they leave, I'll tail them back to the tavern.
So we decide to leave.
So they're out in the woods looking for you, and you're like 20 paces behind them at all times.
The shadow that is.
Yeah. So we go back. We go back to our squalor living conditions.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do then? We're going to go with these Vistani dudes and try and catch them on our other quests.
Surely the first thing is we need to crack open some of your purple grape mash number 3.
Well, I think that was the lower end stuff. I've got the high end stuff, the Red Dragon Crush. If we want to crack that one open.
Oh, let's try with good stuff.
So that's what I'd be asking for. No, the reason I said to open up the purple grape mash is I want you to give that to everyone else.
Okay.
I'd like to attempt to pickpocket. I'd like to attempt to take hold of that Red Dragon Crush and just keep it to myself.
All right.
He's always working an angle, isn't he?
Yeah. All right. We'll crack open one purple grape mash number 3 then.
Okay. Where do you do this? Back at the tavern?
God.
They don't charge corkage, do they? Do they charge corkage?
No, they don't charge corkage.
I think we're back at the lodgings now.
I stabbed the bartender with my.
We're back at our lodgings, worrying where Kavir is because we haven't seen him yet.
Yeah.
And Kavir's standing in the shadows directly behind you, completely silent and motionless.
Okay.
So go on, then. What do we do?
So
Drink.
I think you're going to explain all this shit to me.
Right, we've just explained it all to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So the you want to go off on this quest to help these random people. The first thing we've got to do is make sure we get paid
for this job.
Because if we don't need to go back there, if we don't need to go back there and chase them off tonight, let's just make sure we get paid. And if we're not going to go to this wherever it is, then we should make sure that we get some more jobs from the Duchess. But if we are going to go, we should try and convince her to pay us a retainer.
What about we go back to the Duchess and say we've got your problem solved. They're leaving in the morning. We're going to follow them out of the realm to make sure they leave. If you want to accompany us to their campsite to make sure they leave and pay us when they leave, then we'll do that and we'll make sure they leave the borders.
I'm keen on the retainer, but I agree with the rest of it. I want to try and get some more money out of her.
Okay.
Yeah,
We can try
I agree with go for what Peter said. Go and see her, get her to follow us to the camp, get the money out of her then.
So look, they're leaving, then we follow off and say, look,
Then we
we'll
follow
send
them
them
off
to the border,
to-
and then we accompany them to wherever they go.
Well, I mean, she's not going to come, is she?
Well, she can send an underling, can't she? She can send a minion. It doesn't have to be her.
I'm keen on getting the retainer. I want,
I'm hearing a lot about this retainer.
I want
I've heard
more
great
money
things
out of
about it.
Yeah. So we need to be able to get somebody who can negotiate at the same time. So it can't just be some pleb. We need to get somebody with the capacity to make a deal.
Well, why don't we go talk to him?
What were the arrangements for us to go back? Because I can't remember.
They're leaving in the morning, so we need to be there at the crack of dawn, so it's a timing issue for us.
Yeah.
If she doesn't pay us until they've left and they're leaving first thing in the morning, we can't be in both places at the same time.
No. Which is why I think we need to get someone to come back with us to prove that they're going.
Well, one of us can go. One of us could go back to them.
Okay.
And then say, just hold like a mile out of town or whatever, and we'll join you. And we'll just blame it on I don't know, the warlock being drunk or whatever.
I mean, I think the only problem with this idea is the guys in the camp are then going to know that we're actually our reason for being there last night was for the Duchess.
No,
So they may not then want us to go.
only if they're in the same place at the same time. We need to show whoever the Duchess's agent is an empty campsite.
Hmm.
So we just need to take them a little bit.
How much is a horse?
Several.
Well, free if you know the right person.
Can one of us stay behind, nick a horse, and then catch up with the rest of them?
So if you wanted to buy a draft horse designed to carry loads, then 50 gold pieces. A riding horse, 75. A pony, a mere 30. If you want an armored war horse, that's 400 gold.
Now,
Which is
however,
more expensive than an elephant for 200, apparently. But there's none for sale in Daggerford, unfortunately.
However, me being the magic that I am, you will see in the chat that I have the ability to speak with animals. And it does say there that I may be able to persuade a beast to perform a small favour for me.
Well,
What are we going to do?
So I'm
Talk
not
to a
need to
badger?
steal it. I could borrow one and send him back.
That's not a bad trick. So what we're saying is we'll go back to the woman. We're saying they're leaving. Come with us to the campsite. You can see they've gone. We grab some horses and follow them on.
Well, they've not seen me, so the rest of you could go with them. I could bring her or her agent, get the money, get a horse, and catch up with you.
Yeah,
yeah,
let's do that then.
yeah.
Actually, if you spend $50, 50 gold pieces on a,
We could use it for carrying our
we
shit.
could use it to carry. We could use it to carry the immense amount of stuff that Grimar's carrying because he's got like
Yes.
128 weight.
Hey, and listen, I'm all for having a nice wine collection. So I've only got 2 bottles so far, but I'm planning on expanding this exponentially.
2 kegs. That's what it was.
Kegs, even better.
But surely Dave could just nick a horse, and we don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, he's
But
like the
we want
shadow.
to be. But don't we want to be kept? Don't we want to stay in good standing with the Duchess?
I'm not a thief, man.
We're leaving town, aren't we?
Let's
Yeah, let's just go then.
yeah, let's go with our plan.
Okay, so in the morning, very early, you're heading to the Duchess's Manor, yeah?
Aye.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm heading to the Duchess's Manor. I thought you lot were going to the
Oh,
caravan.
well, yeah, we're going to the caravan. Dave's going to the Duchess's Manor.
So you're not traveling to the caravan together?
The 4 of us are. Dave's going to Duchess Land.
And then he's going to meet you at the caravan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to catch up on a horse.
But you guys need to make sure that they don't speed off, so I can definitely catch up. And I need an indication of like a
They got
spot.
They got wagons. They got a trail. But I don't think they're going to travel that quickly, are they?
Okay.
What's your name? I'm on the wrong page. I can't remember. Kavir. So
Yep.
Kavir, you head to the Duchess's Manor very early. You find that the house is not quite risen at the time that you arrive. And speaking to the guard, he informs you with a sort of like quizzical slanted head of like, well, of course. He says that the Duchess is not yet awake. However, he has been informed of your mission, and if you wish, he could accompany you to this camp to ensure that the Vistani have left before, and then he can arrange to have you paid.
You can arrange to have me paid.
Well, he doesn't carry that kind of money, but it's a bit early for the Duchess.
And is he able to negotiate on her behalf?
He seems maybe a little bit better at haggling than the Duchess, and he says, no, I am definitely not. But I can ensure that you get paid the amount that you said.
Thank you. Perhaps we should ride there.
Yeah, he nods and says, very well. I have my riding horse in the stable. Where's yours?
May I borrow a horse for this moment?
He rolls his eyes and says, you may ride saddle with me.
Very kind, thank you.
So yeah, you are led to the stables. He brings out a fine-looking mare, saddles her up, and then pulls you up behind him on the horse. You learn that his name is Anton, and that he has been a guard for the Duchess for 20 years. It's the only job he's ever had.
Thank you, Anton. I feel safer with you here.
You begin to take the road out of Daggerford to where the caravan was, and from her manor, it should only take about 25 minutes walking. On horseback, it's nothing. It's a very gentle trot down the street, very quick. However, the fog this morning is overwhelming. You've never seen anything like it in your life. It crept in with the rising of the sun, and it makes the whole place feel a little bit Silent Hill, and like someone's turned the rendering distance way down on reality. You know what I mean? Like you can only see maybe like 30 or 40 feet in every direction. It's a very claustrophobic and bizarre experience, and you actually have a little bit of trouble finding the trail to the campsite. And Anton is patiently listening to your directions and following him to the best of his ability. But every time you think you found the track, you travel for a couple of minutes and then you spot some landmark that it's possible you missed it in the dark. It's possible that you are in a completely wrong place, and you find it extremely frustrating.
So, I mean, my character thinks quite a lot of himself, so I probably think that this is something untoward.
Okay.
However, I will just see when we come across a spot which looks somewhat likely. Is there anywhere that we pass which looks like, well, there's ruts from wagons travelling and that kind of thing, and there's maybe an old place where there's been a fire in the past, and at some point I'll just get frustrated and say, yeah, it was here. They've moved on.
Okay, so you don't find any evidence of a campfire, but it's not long before you find evidence of wagon tracks in the road. In fact, you find evidence of like too many wagons. Not just the 3 that you saw. This is like a wagon thoroughfare, but the tracks are fresh. Like they're still present in wet mud. They haven't dried on the seams yet, so it looks like these are fresh, made within hours. And you're going to try and convince him that they're tracks, right?
Well, I'm not. I don't really see what else I can do. There's obviously something weird going on, and we've got to get paid.
Yeah. Okay, so roll me a deception to see if he buys your story. Yeah, he. You may be not the first person who's tried this with him. He says, "No. I need to see them and their backs moving away from the town before you get your money, I'm afraid."
Okay, well,
is it around here? Should I follow these tracks?
I think that's the only possibility, isn't it? We must follow the tracks.
Okay, you do so, and you do so for an hour. You follow the tracks in one direction. You begin to wonder: are we going from where they came? You consider turning around, but that like you haven't seen any of the landmarks that would say that you're traveling south on the road. What's really frustrating you is that you can't see the sun. The fog is so ever present and so cloying and thick, that although there is natural light around you, like revealing the things that you're close to, it's so claustrophobic that you can't see the sun, and that in itself makes it very difficult to navigate. After another 10 minutes of frantic searching, trying to figure out where you are, where Anton is becoming visibly like he's lived in Daggerford his whole life. He knows the area around Daggerford better than anyone, and he is unable to find his bearings on this road, and he is getting more and more frustrated and apprehensive. And at some point, he sort of halts the horse, who protests with a gentle whinny, and looking around, You see black pools of water standing like dark mirrors in and around the muddy roadway, with these giant trees looming over you on both sides of the roads. And he reaches up and touches some of these leaves hanging from a tree like a willow. And he says, "I've never seen a tree like this in Daggerford." And he looks at you with some alarm and says, We're not on the Sword Coast."
How long have you been walking, Dave?
They don't know.
Oh no.
Meanwhile, we decide that we've probably lost Kavir. It's no great loss.
I was going to suggest that one of us doubles back, but I'm thinking probably not.
So, speaking of your group, you guys have a very similar experience. As you attempt to make your way back to the Vistani Camp, as the daylight breaks, you find yourself absolutely smothered with this thick grey fog, and in much the same way, you are completely disoriented. This fog spills out of the forest around you to swallow up the road behind you, and you're not on horseback, so your travel speed is slower. But as you plod your way through, getting more and more concerned that you may have missed your opportunity to, you're following these same tracks. You can see there's evidence of wagons having traveled this way very recently. As you proceed, you're getting concerned that you won't be able to catch up with them. You've missed your opportunity. Just as that is beginning to dawn on you as a possibility, maybe we're just gonna have to turn back. Ahead, jutting from the impenetrable woods on both sides of the road, is a high stone buttress, looming grey in the fog, a defensive fortification that you do not recognize and that you did not see on your way into Daggerford only a few weeks ago. Huge iron gates hang on the stonework, and dew clings with cold tenacity to rusted bars. 2 headless statues of armed guardians flank the gate, their heads now lying among weeds around their feet, and they greet you with only silence.
I've seen Scooby-Doo. Knock on the door.
Here is what you see.
Ooh.
And as you find this and regard it, maybe talk amongst your party, where the fuck are we? You hear the gentle clip-clopping of a horse behind you, and emerging out from the frog is a man you do not recognize. Yes, but from the frog, a giant frog appears, opens his mouth, and cantering out of the frog's mouth down the road towards you is a man you do not recognize, and your companion Kavir in the saddle behind him, looking disheveled and annoyed.
So where the bloody hell have you been?
Well, I brought the guard in order that we get paid because we moved on the Vistani for the Duchess. But now I'm in this insane place with you losers, and it doesn't look like I'm going to get paid.
Oh, you wanted the retainer?
Let's not talk about the retainer now. We're not even going to get paid for the job that we did do.
Is anyone missing the point? There's 2 bloody great big stone statues here. We haven't seen it before. We're obviously lost.
Anton volunteers. We are not lost. We are elsewhere. I have never seen this before, and I know all of the monuments around Daggerford. This is nowhere that I have even heard about. Okay. I'm not convinced. And he sort of gestures around at these trees, and he says, "These are pine. These are evergreens. We have nothing like this in Daggerford. Can you feel that chill in the air? This isn't the coast. This is the north."
So, being a ranger, am I able to do something fancy here to determine where we are? I mean, I know it says the Gates of Borovia on the front there, but
go down the right.
Chill with that.
Go down the right of your thing, because it says that. Look, all your things there. If you click on them, Natural Explorer. What does that say?
Mountain.
Click on it. Yeah.
Nothing. What?
Click on the speech part. Then you can open them up on the settings thing. Sorry, on the settings thing.
What? I think you filled that in.
There. Oh, mine was all filled out for me.
Natural Explorer Mountains. Are we in mountainous?
So click on Natural Explorer above that. See what that says.
There you go.
Oh, okay. It says a lot.
So when you make an intelligence or wisdom check related to your favored terrain, your proficiency bonus is doubled. So basically, if you want to, looking around, you can actually see evidence of mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to, you could make a survival check to try and locate yourselves, and if you did so, you could add an extra +2 to it.
Go on then, I'll do that. Ooh.
Okay, so you get an 18.
18, yeah.
Yeah. So you have heard of a monument similar to this, but that one was in perfect repair and still functional. Heads still on statues. What you're seeing, you recognize as the gates to another area called Fandaris, and based on you've never been there yourself, but based on illustrations you've seen and what you know about the local area, you think that makes sense to you, except that this looks like it's been completely unused for over 100 years. It's a complete wreck. So that doesn't make any sense to you.
It's a complete wreck, guys.
At this point, I turn to Anton because I hear he's got a really interesting voice as well. Really interesting accent when someone has the voice in. And I ask him, how long have we been traveling?
Okay, in an incredibly sexy accent that just drips with sex appeal and mystique and just purest lust, he says, not long.
And you don't recognize this location at all?
This is... I've never even heard of this place. It is. I've been everywhere there is to be within a week's travel of Daggerford, and we are barely an hour away from town. This doesn't make sense.
Can we get our warlock to do a magic check on that fog we just passed through?
See if the stone wall is actually an illusion.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that fog has transported us to another world.
Yeah, I think it's about time we go up and knock on that door.
I think we need to ask Stamivar. We're just asking the question. He's our mate at the minute.
He's nowhere to be seen.
Yes. Okay.
Right, guys. So
I'm going to walk towards the gate carefully. I'm not just going to charge up. I'm going to walk towards the gate, and I'm going to hopefully try and detect any traps. So perhaps do something that some ranger shit that kind of unveils any traps that might be around.
Some ranger shit.
Well, you know.
There you go, YouTube. Dunces and Dragons.
Aptly named.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can give me an investigation check if you just want to, check this gate out, and see if you can notice anything unpeculiar about it. And Drake, you said you wanted to investigate whether or not this is an illusion, or if there was magical qualities to the mists. So you can feel free to give me an Arcana check to investigate those things.
Oh, Christ.
The intelligence division of this party is...
Oh, God.
So you are unable to detect any magical properties to the mist. As far as you can tell, it is perfectly normal, if extremely prevalent mist. Doesn't react weirdly to to passing your hand through it or anything like that. It doesn't have any weird properties that you are able to determine, other than it is everywhere. That the cause of the mist may be magical, but you don't think the mist itself is magical. At least not with 6. And investigating the gate, as you approach, there is one of the gates is sort of locked into position by rust, completely. It would probably take all 5 of you working together to move this massive iron gate with all of the like years of neglect on it. The other one is swinging gently in the breeze on these rusty hinges, and there it is no impediment to entry at all. Is just filling the cold morning air around you with this ominous high-pitched squealing sound.
Okay, what do you reckon? Should we just walk through?
Yeah, I'm just going to walk through.
Yeah,
Like I'm not phased by it. I'm like,
yeah, I'm going to accompany Grima. We're just going to wander through.
Walk through.
We'll let you two go first, and if anything happens, we'll then follow.
Okay, so those of you brave enough stride forward ahead of the group under the towering gate, and you pass through to the other side completely unharmed. On the other side, towering trees whose grey tops are lost in this heavy grey mist block out all but a death grey light, like this constant sort of occlusion ambient lighting around you of this heavily obscured sun. The tree trunks are naturally close together, giving you a claustrophobic feeling, and the woods have a silence like a forgotten grave. Not even the skittering of squirrels or the cry of birds seems to emanate from this otherwise incredibly densely packed, lush forest. And there is just this unearthly, unnatural feeling of emptiness, despite claustrophobia.
Can I make a nature check to see if I can sense anything?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, bear with you a bit of corner. Just need to go back onto that, and I roll.
No.
Boom.
Nice.
Cool. So as Anton says, you agree with him that the nature around you doesn't make sense for the area that you've just left. It's a very brisk, cold morning. You you've probably had to pull your collars up around your necks to keep the early morning dew and the wind off the back of your necks. And the trees around you all appear to be evergreens, rather than the more sort of temperate, hot weather flora that you are more used to from the Sword Coast. The silence of the wood strikes you as particularly odd. This is incredibly dense, packed, natural forest, and by all rights, this early in the morning, like the dawning of the light, it should just be a sea of twittering birds and scampering feet and things hunting its first meal of the day and things like that. But there's none of that. It's like there is no life in these woods at all. But while you peer out into the dark, you catch just the quickest flitter of black past your field of your consciousness, and you see a single raven darting between the trees, heading to the west.
That's a sign, guys. That's an omen.
No.
There we go.
Listen, I've studied the terrain. This is what I do. I'm following that raven. Who's with me?
We let Myfall go on his own. Well, we can't.
I don't think splitting up's a good idea.
No.
We nearly lost Kavir last time.
I will follow my fall.
Go on
I will
then.
follow him to follow the bird.
I think we all sort of think, well, it's the only idea of none. So
Yeah.
follow him.
What do you think, Anton?
Debeck.
Yeah, that's his last name. He says, just with such a luscious voice, oozing, dripping like honey down the chin of a beautiful woman, he says, "I'll go with you for now. We need to find someone who can direct us. We need to learn where we are."
So this route we've taken, we're following the Raven. There's no, but there was a perfectly good path, I take it, that we could have followed.
So following a bird.
So the bird headed east. You're currently on the western side of this gate, so following the path would bring you past the gates in the same direction that the road leads.
We might as well follow this raven then if we're going to go over the top.
I'm telling you, it's a good sign. It's a good omen. We'd be
Fine.
foolish not to follow it.
Okay.
Could lead us into a trap. You never know.
You've got to trust.
A bird.
You've got to trust the religious thing. You've got to trust faith.
Anton, as a representative of authority in law and order, I feel it's probably best if you go first, because people will see the livery of the Duchess,
Yes.
and may think twice before attacking us in this strange land.
That is very true.
You gonna roll a persuasion on that, buddy? You get the impression he's not feeling it.
I don't think he's got much
That
choice.
maybe he is feeling it.
Is he feeling it?
All right. You appeal to his. You appeal to his sense of pride and respectability, and he nods sagely and says, "Yes, you're right. It is my duty as a member of the constabulary to strike forward and make sure that you civilians are safe. Don't worry. I'll lead the way."
You're a good man, Anton.
Yes, I know. And
He expendable.
he kicks his heels, and his horse begins to break into a sort of gentle canter, and he heads down the path ahead of you, scouting party. And for a little while, you follow in his direction, listening to the clip-clop of his hooves. Not his hooves, his horse's hooves against the path, getting gently softer and further away until you can no longer hear that noise at all. You continue to walk for a couple of hours before the trees begin to disperse around you. Before they were tight-packed and claustrophobic all around you. Now they're beginning to spread out a little bit. And
See, told you, follow the raven. Always follow the raven.
Exactly. You see planes ahead of you.
See, we're at the airport.
Yeah. No, you see shrublands. And your path trails close to this crystal clear blue river, reflecting the blue winter sky above you. Not long after you encounter this, however, who is the most perceptive of you? So in your character sheets, you should have aggressive perception.
1.
I've got 3.
3.
What? Sorry. What are we looking for?
Perception.
I'm a 3.
1 with a tick.
That's got. Listen, this is literally.
Yeah, I've got a
this
tick
has got,
as well.
This has got Grimar's name all over it.
Yeah.
We ain't done anything yet. Come on.
What you got, Grima?
Oh,
17.
does that work?
Yeah, you catch the scent of death on the air, a smell familiar to you in bad memories. You smell the scent of decay.
Okay.
So we've got this beautiful blue pool.
Sorry?
We've got this beautiful blue pool, but you've just ruined it by telling us you can smell death.
Yeah, you can literally smell death coming off of it. Right. So can I sort of obviously get closer to the water, sort of see what's going on with that?
Yeah, the water itself appears fine. In fact, you come close to settlements. You come to expect a certain level of pollution in streams. It's medieval plumbing, right? You don't have a sewer or anything, so anything nasty gets chucked in the stream. But this is crystal clear water reflecting the blue winter sky. There's no fish, there's no dragonflies or things like that. But despite that, there is this rugged beauty, this sort of gothic, wholesomeness in its appearance.
Sorry, Ed. Can I ask a general D&D question here?
Mhm.
When it comes to things such as food and water, I know that some of us have got some things in our items,
Wine.
water skins and what have you. Do we need to
wine.
restock? Do we need to restock water? Is that
I've got a keg of wine. We don't need water.
So what I'll say is that food is more important. Water, as long as you have reasonably had some access to water during the day, I'll say that you've found the time to refill your water skins and everything.
Okay, sure.
It's a bit boring to constantly be tracking that stuff.
That's fine. Cool. That's as long as we know, because we filled up with lots of water this morning, and we filled that empty keg up that we drank last night with water, so we've got plenty. However,
We did. That is true.
I do want to go for a swim.
No. To be honest, I was more concerned about Anton because he was the only one of us that didn't have any provisions. But he
He's
did
just
have the
wandered up.
horse, and
We
there
should have made him
was
walk.
potential
We
for
could have kept the
both.
horse.
There was potential for both him and the horse to be used as road meat if need be.
Hmm.
I didn't like him. He had a dodgy voice.
Well, is there any paths around here? Is there any paths continuing on? Is there any?
Yeah, so there seems to be a well-worn dirt road is what you've been traveling on this whole time. That continues to the west.
I think do we need to have a good look around this pond, this lake, this water to see if we can
Yeah.
identify the stench of death?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, anyone who
could
wants to can give me a survival check to see if you can follow tracks, basically, see if you can discover.
I'm going because
go.
I'm fairly sure that it's Drake's BO, but I'm gonna have a little bash at this as well. Oh shit.
I think we'll go with Pete there.
No, all three of us are going.
All three of us are going.
Is that how it works, Ed?
Yeah, all three of you are. If you've rolled survival, you're all searching together.
Okay.
And so, under Snorri's direction, with the best roll, you pick up the scent the easiest, and it leads your group to a human corpse, half buried in underbrush, about 15 feet from the road, and obscured by some wild, untamed bushes.
Okay, I'm going to check his body.
The young man appears to be a commoner. He's dressed in common clothes. His muddy clothes are torn and raked with claw marks. Crows have been at the body, which is surrounded by paw prints, and the man has obviously been dead for several days. He holds a crumpled envelope in one hand, but no other belongings.
Okay.
Just take the envelope, see if there's
Yeah,
anything inside.
we'll take the envelope. Have a look at it.
Shouldn't we do a magic check on it first? Maybe that's what
I'm
killed
pretty
him.
sure a letter isn't magic.
Okay,
I'm not touching
you
it.
activate the rune of exploding. No.
Just blows it back in my face.
You find this.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Was anyone volunteer to read it out in sultry tones for the whole group?
The Burgomaster of Baronia, send you honor with despair. My adopted daughter, the fair somebody.
If you scroll down, by the way, it's written in non-cursive.
You should have left me doing that. I'd have been there for hours.
Yeah, that was my concern, Topper.
LD of might and valor, I, the Burgomaster of Borovia, send you honor with despair. My adopted daughter, the fair Irina Colliana, has been these bars nights bitten by a vampire. For over 400 years, this creature has drained the lifeblood of my people. Now my dear Irina languishes and dies from an unholy wound caused by this vile beast. He has become too powerful to conquer. So I say, give us up for dead and encircle this land with the symbols of good. Let holy men call upon their power, and that the devil may be contained within the walls of weeping Borovia. Leave our sorrow to our graves and save the world from this evil fate of ours. There is much wealth entrapped in this community. Return for your reward after we are all departed for a better life. Polyan Indirovich, Burgomaster.
That accent wandered a few continents there. That was great.
I'm a travelled man.
Okay. So,
Right. Listen, all I got from that, folks, was there's much wealth entrapped in this community, and there's no one there. I say we get in there, we stay clear of the vampire, we take the wealth, we leg it.
sounds good to
Surely
me.
there'll be some concern that creature and beast is still there.
We won't see him.
No, we've
What
got
do we
the
know
shadow
about
that is.
vampires?
So
only come out at
anyone
night.
who wants to can roll a history check to learn what your character knows of vampires.
I will roll. Let me do this first because I have got. Okay, I won't. I haven't. Go on. Who's done it? Dave.
Dave.
21.
Oh, we would.
So I assume that you're all sharing this information between yourselves and not
Yes.
keeping it to yourself.
Yeah.
So as a group,
Well, I might like to keep it to myself.
okay.
That's just being selfish.
Does,
No, I'm not. We're one team. One team, one dream.
so as a party, you know certain things, but it's difficult to distinguish the truth from the fiction. You know, you don't have. There's no Snopes in fantasy world. So you've heard a lot of stories of vampires, and it's difficult to tell which of them are true, which of them are inventions. But in general, they burn in sunlight. They're unholy creatures with a powerful thirst for human blood. That they can charm you with a gaze. They can summon creatures to do their bidding for them. They are unable to cross running water. They are averted by symbols of divine authority. They don't like garlic in their bolognese.
Well, they're crazy.
Why does this sound a bit like Stanima?
Are they evil?
Yes, vampires are. Like, you've never heard a story of a good vampire. This isn't a pre-Buffy the Vampire Slayer world. Concept of a good vampire does not exist yet.
Well,
There's no David
listen,
Boreanaz.
Well,
listen, dudes. We've got no humans here, so they're not going to want to eat us. They want human blood.
you'd just be like a
Let's
flipping
give them
morsel anyway.
And listen, I am rising to the top of my religious hierarchy. I am going to be the top dog. So I am a religious symbol.
You're the Messiah.
You're not like a cleric or a monk or anything. No.
No, I have my ideals of power, and I hope to one day rise to the top of my faith's religious hierarchy. I am religious.
Okay, so if we get attacked by the vampire, you should go first. I agree. You have the best chance from what
I
you've
agree
said.
too, because I do have the best chance because I'm the best.
Right, there we go. That's settled then.
No other questions.
Yeah, no other questions. Let's continue on down the path.
Okay. Bear with me one moment.
Oh, wrong button. Sorry.
Just double checking.
Boom.
This book is laid out really weirdly. Here we go.
This game's worked out really weirdly.
This book is laid out really weirdly.
Oh, I was going to say, doesn't surprise us.
They got like the last thing you should do is like chapter 2 for some reason. Okay, so you continue on down the road, heading to the west, for let's say about an hour, walking on foot, because none of you have expressed that you're like trying to make good time or anything. So I assume that you're going at a comfortable pace. Mm-hmm. Tall shapes loom out of the dense fog that surround everything around you. The muddy ground underfoot. The muddy ground underfoot gives way to slick, wet cobblestones, a sign of civilization, and the tall shapes become recognizable as village dwellings. The windows of each house stare out from pools of blackness. No sound cuts through the silence, except for mournful sobbing that echoes through the streets at a distance.
Okay, so should we investigate and try and find where this sobbing is coming from?
Mm.
We're so
I
going to
think
get
that
killed
is
here.
probably wise. Yeah, we're not using mine.
Ben's it is.
Is this how it should work, Ed? Do we all roll and pick the best?
So it depends. I think in general, I might ask you to do group investigations in the future, where the whoever, like, out of those who are present at the time, whoever has the best will roll with advantage on behalf of the whole group, because
Right.
you're all sort of pooling your perceptive powers together.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to do something, volunteer to me that you want to try to use a skill. Don't wait for me to prompt you to roll a skill. You ask me, can I use investigation to look and things like that.
Okay.
In my investigation, I am keeping an eye out, because if I see anything valuable which I can certainly slip in my pocket, that's what I'm doing.
Okay. You distinctly do not see anything valuable. You see squalor. The houses around you are in very poor condition, and like, you get a distinct poverty vibe from your immediate area. As the gravel road leads to the village, it's tall houses, dark as tombstones. It says that in the book. It's so extra. Nestled among these solemn dwellings are a handful of closed-up shops, and even the tavern is shut tight. With your investigation, you follow that sound of whimpering and moaning to a pair of children sitting on the front step of a tall townhouse that appears to be in better condition than any of the other houses around it.
Okay.
There is a young girl, possibly 10 years old, and she is comforting a crying boy that you would place at 6 or 7 years old, who is he himself is clutching at this stuffed straw doll, and the girl is trying to hush the boy.
Oh, I've seen horror films. I'm going to get my axe out.
I'd like to point out to viewers at home that Peter is a father.
Proceed to the children with caution and to ask if everything is okay.
Okay.
I'm going to try and get into the shadows a bit.
Yeah, I'm going to keep a wary distance.
Surreptitiously ready the crossbow.
Yeah, I've got my axe ready.
I think everybody's prepared, and I'll go up to the children by myself.
Yeah. So you approach these children. After shushing the boy, the girl turns to you, rises to her feet, and gives you a gentle curtsy with impeccable manners, and says, "I'm sorry if my brother disturbed you."
Are there any flowers around?
No.
No, that's not a good sign. Flowers are not a good sign.
There are flower
flowers.
boxes with withered, blackened.
Listen, this is definitely
tangles.
not a good omen. We need to be cautious here, guys.
I asked the I'm assuming the sister. Asked the sister what's happened and what's wrong.
She says, "There's a monster in our house," and she points to the tall brick row house behind her. Its windows are dark, has a gated portico on the ground floor, and the rusty gate is slightly ajar, as is the front door. You can see light coming from outside, cutting through the fog, giving you those kind of god rays that you see. And houses on either side are abandoned with their windows and doors boarded up.
Okay, so I'm assuming it's purely just that creature within that single house. I asked the little girl to describe the creature to me.
The girl says, "I don't know what it looks like, but I've heard its howls.
Okay.
Mother and father said we need to run away if we hear that."
Right.
I'm kind of curious that.
I'm going to get my tinderbox out, and I'm going to set fire to the building.
Okay. The children panic and begin crying.
Well, there's a monster.
The little
I'm
girl
gonna burn it down.
holds her. The girl holds her brother and says, "My parents are inside. The baby is inside."
Okay, so definitely not burning down the house. So,
The little boy cries, "What's going to happen to Walter?"
or is that the little
And
baby?
the girl
or is that-
says, "They're going to kill him."
Oh dear.
Okay, so I bring
I quickly
the
put out
boy
the
and little
fire I
girl.
started.
I bring the little boy and girl back to the group, and we form up a plan of going into the house, killing the creature, and then saving the parents. If anybody is with me.
Why are your
I'm with you.
parents in the house?
Sorry, say again.
Why are your parents in the house?
This is where we live.
Apparently, there's a creature in the house, and their parents and baby are in the house as well.
I still think we
Have
should burn it down.
your parents very wealthy?
She says. So, you notice that in stark contrast to the squalid conditions around this particular house, this house itself is not in perfect condition, but is in a better condition. It doesn't have boarded up windows or broken glass or anything like that. And they are wearing clothes befitting a like the children of nobles.
Is it cold where we are?
Yeah.
Can I see?
But they're warm. They're pretty warmly wrapped up themselves.
I
There's a
see-
fire. There's a
I-
fire going on behind them. Don't forget.
Can I see their
Yeah,
breath?
feet set
I-
fire.
You want to see what they look like?
No, can I see their breath?
Yeah. You can see clouds
old
forming in
man.
front of their mouth.
Okay,
He's 10 years old, man.
They
hear-
introduce themselves as the girl, the elder, is Rosabolt. Oh, sorry, no, Rosavalda, and her younger brother is named Thornbolt.
Right.
But they shorten it to Rose and Thorn.
I have an ideal
got
where
the door.
I kill monsters to make the world a safer place. So if there's a monster inside, I'm just going to be going in there and trying
Yeah,
to...
you go in. You don't hang around, do you?
No. set the house on fire and charge. I set the house on fire and charge in.
That's fair.
Oh,
So
Dave.
we'll leave you all tonight with the decision of whether or not you want to help the defenseless children who have been forced out of their home by a monster, or leave them to die in the cold.
Or burn their house down like Peter suggests.
Yeah, or burn their house down.
At least they'll be.
I also believe he pulled his axe out at some point, so there's that opportunity as well.